The first time Jace Rennick saw her, she was half buried in a junk pile behind Docking Bay 32, small, pale blue, barely 3 feet tall, and trembling under a heat shield tarp that was twice her size. Most people would have stepped over her. Most people did. But Jace wasn't most people. He was a human mechanic, the kind who could repair a fusion core with one hand while eating a sandwich with the other. He wasn't rich, wasn't influential, wasn't the kind of man who changed galaxies. He was just trying to make a living on Vessel Station Promia, a floating hub where aliens, traders, and opportunists collided like debris in a gravstorm. He crouched down and lifted the tarp. 2 enormous silver eyes stared back at him, reflective, luminous, and terrified. "Hey there, kid," he said softly. "Where are your parents?" The girl didn't answer. Her throat vibrated instead, producing a harmonic hum. Fear, if Jace had to guess. "You're freezing," he muttered. He reached into his tool belt and gently wrapped her in the thermal jacket he usually kept for late-night repairs. She flinched at first, but then leaned into the warmth. "Let's get you somewhere safe, yeah?" He held out his hand, and against every logical instinct, she took it. The kid who shouldn't exist. Jace brought her to his workshop, a cramped place stuffed with half-disassembled starship cores, crates of parts, and one battered coffee machine he treated like royalty. The girl sat nearby, watching him with an alertness far too sharp for a child. "What's your name?" he asked. She tapped a glowing patch on her temple. A holographic projection flickered to life, broken, glitching, but showing one readable word. "Leary." "Leary, huh? Nice to meet you." He tapped his chest. "Jace." She mimicked the gesture. Then she noticed the mug on his workbench. Steam curled from it, carrying the unmistakable scent of Promian spice root brew. Her pupils widened with curiosity. "You want some?" he asked. She nodded. He poured her a tiny cup. She sniffed it, shivered at the heat, then took the smallest sip imaginable. Her entire expression lit up, like tasting warmth for the first time. Jace couldn't help smiling. But beneath the moment, questions gnawed at him. What species are you? Why were you alone? Why hide behind a junk pile? He picked up a diagnostic scanner. Not to invade, just to check vitals. But as soon as he clicked it on, Leary panicked. Energy rippled through her small frame. Metal tools on the shelves vibrated. Bolts rolled across the table. A wrench shot off a hook and embedded itself in the wall. Jace froze. "Okay. No scanners." "Got it." Leary's breathing steadied. The tension drained from her body, and the floating objects clattered to the floor. Telekinetic? Electromagnetic? Jace wasn't sure. But one thing was certain. She was dangerous. And she was scared of being found. 2. Whispers of a war. 3 days passed. Leary barely spoke, but she watched. She learned. She copied Jace's movements while he worked on ship cores. She fetched tools before he asked. She hummed softly while he welded, matching the tone of vibrating metal, a strange ability that somehow stabilized the harmonics of engines nearing meltdown. She wasn't just curious. She was exceptionally intelligent. And she was growing attached. Too attached. Several times Jace caught her staring at him with an expression he didn't know how to interpret, mixing hope, fear, and something far older than her small form suggested. Then the rumors began. Whispers in the station hallways. Talk of a missing Etherian child. A species so rare and powerful that entire militaries feared them. A species believed extinct. Some said the child had escaped captivity. Some said she carried a weapon inside her. Some said she could tear apart a fleet with her voice. Jace felt a weight settle in his chest. He looked over at Leary, sitting on his workbench and swinging her legs while eating a nutrient bar he'd flavored with extra sugar. She's just a kid, he thought. But someone out there wants her badly enough to kill for her. And he knew what happened to things people wanted. They became hunted. 3. The night the soldiers came. It happened during Jace's late-night shift. Leary was asleep on a makeshift bed of machine blankets. He had just finished sealing the coolant lines on a merchant ship when he heard the distinct thudding footsteps of armored boots outside his workshop. Heavy, synchronized, military. Jace cursed under his breath. The door slid open. 5 soldiers marched in, fully armored, visors tinted red, bearing the insignia of the Kareth Dominion, a faction notorious for acquiring rare biological assets. Their captain stepped forward, a towering brute with a plasma rifle simmering on standby. "We're looking for a fugitive biological entity," he said. "Small.
Blue.
Emits harmonic radiation. You seen anything like that, mechanic?" Jace forced a shrug. "Sounds like half the aliens that wander through here." The captain leaned closer. "Careful. Lying to the Dominion is treason." Behind him, a soldier's visor scanned the room. Red light swept across consoles, across storage crates, across the pile of blankets where Leary slept. Jace's pulse skyrocketed. The soldier took a step toward the blankets. Leary woke. She blinked. The soldier reached down, and in that instant, she screamed. But not like any child. Her cry rippled through the workshop like a shockwave. Metal panels buckled. Hanging tools shot upward like missiles. A welding arm tore free from the ceiling and slammed into a soldier, smashing him through a wall. The Dominion squad panicked. Contain the asset. Shut her down. Disable. Another soldier lifted off the ground, choking silently as unseen force crushed his armor. Jace grabbed Leary, shielding her. Her body was shaking violently, eyes glowing silver white. "Leary, stop," he pleaded. "You'll hurt yourself." The energy flared, then collapsed. She fainted in his arms. The remaining soldiers regrouped. "She's here. Call reinforcements. We need a full extraction team." Jace's instincts screamed one thing.
Run.
He hoisted the unconscious girl into his arms and bolted through the workshop's back exit, straight into the maintenance tunnels. For the escape no one should attempt. Promia Station was a maze of ducts, lift shafts, and forgotten utility corridors. Jace knew them all. He'd spent years repairing systems no one remembered existed. Behind him, the Dominion soldiers clattered through the tunnels. He ducked into an air shaft, crawling fast. Sparks flickered from the walls where soldiers fired energy rounds, barely missing his boots. "Jace Rennick," a voice boomed through station comms. "You are harboring a dangerous Etherian. Surrender her now, and you may live." He ignored it. Leary stirred weakly. Jace, I'm here, kid. Hold on." "Sorry, hurt them." "It's not your fault." She tried to lift her hand, but her energy flickered uselessly.
"We're getting out," he said. "How?"
Jace kicked open a grate and dropped into his personal hangar bay, a space he alone controlled. Inside sat his pride and nightmare. The Freebird, half cargo hauler, half salvaged fighter, all attitude. He laid Leary in the co-pilot seat, strapped her in, then sprinted to the cockpit. Boots hammered behind him. "Too late," a Dominion officer shouted. He fired up the engines. Panels flickered. The ship groaned like an old beast being woken from a long sleep. "Come on, don't fail me now." The Freebird roared to life. Blaster bolts rained across the cockpit windows as the hangar door opened. Jace slammed the throttle. The ship shot out into open space, blast doors closing inches behind them. But the Dominion warships were already mobilizing. Unauthorized launch detected. Lock weapons. Disable the fugitive's vessel. Jace grinned grimly. Leery, sweetie? You awake? She opened her eyes weakly. Scared. I know, but I need a little help. Her eyes flickered. The engines, they're singing wrong. You can hear that? Yes, hurt. I fix. She pressed her trembling hand against the console. A soft harmonic hum filled the cockpit. Engine power spiked 40%. Stability rebalanced. Weapon systems primed. Jace blinked. You're incredible. Leery smiled faintly. Then the Dominion ships opened fire. 5. A child's power, a mechanic's courage. Space lit up as beams chased the Freebird. Jace maneuvered hard, weaving between asteroid fragments. Leery's hum deepened, sinking with the ship. She's not just stabilizing us, Jace realized aloud. She's amplifying everything. The ship's shield strengthened. The thrusters responded with near-sentient sharpness. The Dominion commander's voice crackled over comms. Surrender the Etherian child. Humans cannot protect such a being. She belongs to us. Jace's blood boiled. She doesn't belong to anyone. This is your final warning. I got one for you, Jace growled. Choke on engine grease. He cut the comm. The Dominion frigates moved to surround them. Leery, he said softly, can you give the engines one more push? For you, yes. Her silver eyes blazed. The ship surged forward with impossible speed, like space itself bent to clear a path for them. But the Dominion weren't giving up. A massive cruiser descended in front of them, cannons charging. Jace, Leery whispered. Big one. I see it. He gritted his teeth. Hold tight. He dove the Freebird toward the cruiser's underbelly, toward the maintenance trench between the ion cannons. She'll never fit. Leery cried. She will, Jace said, because I know every ship they built. And this one has a blind spot. The trench narrowed. Alarms blared. Leery screamed, not in fear, but in power. Her harmonic resonance expanded, forming an invisible protective bubble around the Freebird. Metal scraped. Plating warped, but they squeezed through. Behind them, the Dominion cruiser's cannons fired instinctively, directly into its own hull. A chain reaction bloomed into fiery chaos. Jace let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Kid, he said, voice trembling with adrenaline, you just saved us. No, she said softly. You saved me. 6. What she really was. Hours later, far beyond Dominion territory, the Freebird drifted in the quiet dark. Leery slept, curled against Jace's arm. Exhausted. Vulnerable. Jace watched her, finally able to breathe. He examined the glowing patch on her temple again. It wasn't decoration. It was a symbiotic quantum interface, the kind used by species who could manipulate energy at a molecular level. Etherians weren't just rare. They weren't just powerful. They were the architects of ancient technology no modern civilization could replicate. And this child, this small, frightened girl, might be the last of her kind. He brushed a stray strand of her white hair aside. You're more than just a little alien girl, he whispered. You're a miracle. She stirred in her sleep, humming quietly. Jace leaned back, staring at the stars. He knew what came next. He couldn't keep her hidden forever. He couldn't raise her alone. And he couldn't let the Dominion find her again. There was only one place to go. The Etherian ruins on Viral Prime. If any trace of her people remained, it would be there, even if it meant facing something ancient, something dangerous, something he wasn't sure he could survive. But he owed her that chance. And Jace Rennick always paid his debts. 7. The ending. Her gift, his promise. Viral Prime was a dead world. Ash-gray soil. Ruins older than recorded history. Silence heavy enough to crush hope. Jace carried Leary across the cold ground. She clung to his neck, shivering, not from fear, but from recognition. "This home," she whispered. Lightning crackled across the sky, not natural lightning, but patterned, harmonic, like a song. Then the ruins lit up. A beam of shimmering light rose from the cracked earth, forming a doorway of pure resonance. Leary trembled. "Jace, they call." "Your people?"
No.
"Their memory." He knelt before her. "Leary, if you go through, I don't know if you'll come back." She placed her tiny hand on his cheek. "You fix my heart," she whispered. "You gave me home."
Gift.
Her eyes glowed brighter than ever before, silver, soft, full of a depth no child should carry. "I will return. I promise." Jace swallowed hard. "I'll wait, no matter how long." She leaned forward and rested her forehead against his. "Thank you, Jace." Then she stepped into the light. The ground hummed. The ruins shifted. The energy spiraled upward. And Leary vanished. Only silence remained. Jace stood alone on the ancient plain, staring at the empty air where she had disappeared. He waited. Minutes.
Hours. Then,
A small hand slipped into his.
he turned.
She stood there, eyes brighter, posture steadier, aura gentle but powerful. "Leary," he breathed. She smiled. "I am more now, but still yours." Tears stung his eyes. "Let's go home, kid."
She squeezed his hand.
Together. And under the swirling sky of Viral Prime, Mechanic and Miracle walked toward the waiting Freebird, toward a future they would shape side by side. Because no one chose the alien girl until a human stepped forward. And that choice changed everything.